Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Not a great morning to be a rider, if you get that very, very corny joke. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, October 27th. This is the last show before we go to Amsterdam next week. Today, we are going to discuss Yuga Labs' $1.5 million lawsuit win. We're going to talk about NFT volume reaching a 2-month high, and we're going to talk about the great NFT founder exodus. Who could have seen that coming? Who could have seen that coming, ladies and gentlemen? Before I go any further, Bunny, why you so mad at this guy?
Which guy?
Well, apparently I heard that you're just arguing with some random guy on Twitter this morning.
Could be. I argue with a lot of random guys on Twitter.
You sound actually...
Here's the thing, P. I'm mad at a lot of people right now. I'm mad at Yuga because they haven't announced that this I was hoping this 1.5 million was going to get airdropped to Bored Ape holders, right? That's $1.50 per Bored Ape. I think that would be a hilarious thing to do. Also, I'm mad at Beeple. He used Tropo Farmer's ape instead of my ape for his everyday piece. Tropo's just pivoted to an AI artist now, so I'm not even sure why he used that one.
You sound actually irked though. It sounds like you're actually irked this morning. Am I wrong about that?
No, very irked, dude. Very irksome day.
I've never seen you like this, Bunny. I've only seen you in a very chill and happy-go-lucky mood. I've never seen you actually have a little bit of rage. We're not getting anything.
I'm ready to rip somebody's fucking head off, Pio.
Well, there you go. Clemente, what's going on this morning, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I was feeling a little bit guilty because I publicly roasted Bunny on Twitter yesterday, and I thought he would get a laugh out of it. He didn't even interact with it. He interacted with my other tweet. So I don't know. I felt a little bit guilty and can't help but feel a little bit responsible for maybe some of his angriness this morning.
Bunny, you didn't mention Clemente is one of the people that you're angry at. Is he onto something there?
No, so here's the thing. If you tag me in a post on Twitter, 70% chance I don't see it, dude. I don't even look at those things. That's the best way to block out the haters, dude. If you don't even see it, it can't affect you.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Easy. What do you make of the settlement? What do you make of the $1.5 million lawsuit W for Yuga Labs?
Yeah, everyone keeps talking about NFT projects have to generate revenue, and it seems like Yuga's found a new option on how to do this. Just take them to court. Take them to court, have more money, a better legal team, and just rinse them clean. I like Bunny's strategy. Just give out $150 to all the holders. Quality airdrop, I think right now that's probably like 150 ape coin. So could, a little bit of buy pressure. Could be pretty solid return.
Ape coin's actually pumped from about $1.25 to $1.32 last I looked.
Wow. Absolutely gig ascending. But I think the real alpha here is right after the lawsuit, Buddy texts me and we were on the exact same wavelength. He's like, dude, I think we got to buy these RR/redacteds because they've now changed the name because it's an official Yuga asset. And I responded with, I'm already looking at looks rare. So they delisted them everywhere. As soon as I saw the settlement, first thing I did was go to look if I could get these anywhere. You can't, sadly. But I was all over it because I was like, dude, I could get an ape. That's a Yuga Labs Bored Ape. Okay, so now are these back up?
I thought these were it, right?
No, it's RR/redacted is what they were from their official links. But now there was none listed.
Obviously, Easy's making a joke about the revenue, but the funny part is this is the second largest, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but I'm almost positive that this is the second largest revenue event for Yuga Labs this year. The largest revenue event being the sale of 12-fold on ordinals. I think that was like $8 or $9 million out of nowhere. Because think about it, no one going into 2023 knew that ordinals was going to pop off and there'd be a $9 million NFT sale opportunity on ordinals earlier this year. Think about it. You can't do that today. There's not enough liquidity on ordinals today to just go and do a $9 million drop. I mean, at least I assume. So, I mean, look, we've talked about on this show before, Yuga actually does not have a defined path to revenue yet. That's okay because they have so much funding. Excuse me. So as a startup, it's kind of actually just traditional startup. It's like you have a ton of funding and you're trying to figure out the path to revenue. Obviously, the assumed path to revenue is going to be video games. That's the assumed path to revenue. But we'll have to see what happens. I didn't realize that there were a bunch of NFT projects that were, the great founder exodus, as you called it, Clemente. We'll have to discuss that. Clemente, you were going to say something before the weather report?
Yeah, it's gaming and plushies is basically the move, Pio. It's one or the other. You got you're either a stuffed animal
physical
company
collectibles and video games is what it is across the board. That's it. And now real world assets, watches, Pokemon cards, tokenizing real world assets. I've even started to see real estate pop up. There's a project on Solana called Parcel where you can actually short and long US real estate and take like almost like leverage positions against it, which I'm really interested in. It's not for US consumers, sadly, but I've researched a bunch of it because that's something I'm like, this is pretty cool to get real estate exposure, especially in the current market what we're in, where like real estate's kind of the last domino at the moment when it comes to not in a recession. When you look at commercial and residential real estate, so I like the real world.
Why don't you just get a REIT? Just get a REIT.
Because I hold a bunch of them, to be honest. Like that's something in my actual stock portfolio I do hold. And have been holding since like 2012, just like sitting on it because they have pretty good dividends. But I like the more aggressive trading style, especially for capital that I would normally use on coins to now kind of look other places.
So a ridiculous degen strategy.
Yes.
Me and Nick went to dinner with this guy that runs an investment firm, really successful guy, really smart guy. And hearing him talk about real estate, his eyes lit up like a Christmas tree talking about it. And just hearing about all the tax tricks that you can execute with real estate. Like there's mainstream ones that everybody knows. If you listen to that guy, Nick Huber, he's a big Twitter person. He does a lot of podcasts. His content's not really my cup of tea, but if you listen to like his content, he'll give you the sort of mainstream ones. This guy at dinner was like diving into like some deep cut ones. He's like, yeah, if you declare yourself a real estate professional, then you can do this, this, and this. And Nick was like, I would have to declare myself as a real estate professional. And the guy's like, talk to your accountant. It was just pretty funny stuff. Well, look, if NFT projects are going to be doing, or if the focus is going to be physical collectibles, we have that covered, or at least for 5 verticals, as I've talked about thus far, and we'll add verticals one by one. We just got to sell some of this stuff because I'm literally just like, is anybody going to buy this? I have like this irrational fear that NFT people only want digital stuff. Literally, I'm just like, they only want digital stuff. There's no way that they're going to want the hats, the shirts, and the other 3 things that we have coming out in the initial batch. So we'll have to see. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive into the weather report with Signal before we start discussing some of the stories of the day, specifically NFT volume, the Rider Rips, BAYC trial, DeGods, and others. The great founder exodus. I can't wait to sink my teeth into that one. But Signal, please take it away.
Absolutely, guys. It's Friday. It's the last day of the week. Also, last Friday of October. So what has been going on? Market volume is 13.9 million. Wowzers. That is the highest since August the 18th. You got Blur almost in double digits at 9.1. OpenSea just down at 2.9. Onto the market leaders. Well, Bored Apes are up 4%. Azuki's up 3%, but DeGods down 10%. Other movers include the wins of Yana Yana. That's down 10% to 6.5 ETH. Milady's up 7%. Nakamigos up 14%. And Kampai Pandas up 12%. So looking tasty on some of these collections. Over the past 24 hours, DeGods were hit with just a flurry of sales into bids yesterday as some holders got out of their blend positions. The number one Blur farmer ended up buying almost 200 of them. And then he went and slowly dumped them onto other farmers overnight. DeGods are down 10% and have become the collection with the largest percentage of their supply in blend at a staggering 5.5%. In a rare move, the judge on Sam Bankman-Fried's case asked the jury, go home, go have a cup of tea, because Sam Bankman-Fried is going to be questioned, but not in front of the jury. The judge did this because he was unsure of the comments Sam would make. When questioned by his defense team, he answered questions well, but he became a bit forgetful when he was cross-examined. This should set up for Sam Bankman-Fried big day in court today, as the defense will look to make a Hail Mary play. Watch Nick's video. He was there and he will give you the live up-to-date version of what happened there. Onto the PFP market, Azuki announced their Mind of Gus Beans physical collectible, which will come with a staple physical back token tech. Prices are yet to be revealed, but 530 of them will be raffled to the Beans holders next Thursday. Clemente is ecstatic because Beans are up 5% to 0.37 ETH. And then lastly, we talked about it. Ryder Rips and Jeremy Cahan have to pay Yuga Labs $1.5 million in damages and cover Yuga's attorney fees and transfer ownership of the Ryder Rips Bored Ape Yacht Club smart contract after Yuga won the copyright infringement lawsuit earlier this year. Good does prosper over evil. It is back to you guys in the studio.
What a line there at the end, Signal. Good over evil. I don't know. I was inspired to do this. It's the Friday before we go to BreakPoint.
Oh, he's leaking it.
I can leak this one, I feel like.
Pull it back just a little bit. Pull it back just a little bit.
More?
Bit.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah,
here we go.
You're a little too close. You got to see the whole thing because this thing's a beaut. Shout out the art team. Gorgeous t-shirt. We know bikes are the hot commodity in Amsterdam. And we got Buddy on a bike just for BreakPoint. Look at those B's. Triple B's, baby. Nice little.
Triple B. Wait,
Triple B's, baby.
So I can take another screenshot, Pio.
Flip to the back, Pio.
That was my... I just dropped my phone onto the mixer. Sorry, guys. I wasn't trying to just have that guy flip out right there. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Look, it's a Friday show. You know, like the whole Friday vibes. Like this is like where you get to wear shorts to the office or something.
Drink beers at lunch. No kombucha today. It's a good Friday, man. It feels good. And I did want to circle it back to the NFT thing because there was a bombshell from the DeGods side of things that dropped where the reason they actually sold off and what many people speculate was because Frank DeGods made a comment where he said we have to purge the morons from the collection, which was a wild statement. And you usually don't see comments like that. It was in response to another tweet, ended up getting cycled. He unfollowed some people who have been negatively vocal that he's been long-term following. And obviously multiple screenshots came out. The timeline's been electric, man. I've been having a blast.
The guy is going for casting for the main character. I'm just saying, you might want to like.
There's one rule and one rule only. You never become the main character.
Yeah. I mean, calling your holders morons.
Only Nick can get away with that.
That's actually literally true. Well, we're going to get to DeGods. Let me quickly dive into a couple of stories from the weather report. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. I just feel compelled to talk about this right now because this is the first shirt that this is the first official BoDoggos merch. I know I'm on the merch and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience stop talking about the merch is probably the vibe. But anyway, look, so we did a hat and a shirt for BreakPoint. We're going to do merch for all events, right? So I have the team working on some stuff for some other events that are coming up. For the hat, I had made a video about this, but then we decided that it's way more fun to just have Nick do the Billy Mays style video. And obviously that got like 35,000 views. I don't think that my take would have gotten that many views. But basically with the hat, we ended up finding a custom embroidery shop in California that did a phenomenal job with the embroidery. We've already ordered a second run of a different hat. So we have another model for when we get back. And for the shirt, honestly, I went through hell and high water to find the right sample because if you go into t-shirt sample, like this is, if anybody's trying to make like merch or make like a clothing, anything, let me tell you this, the shirts that they try to sell you are dresses. They're literally dresses. It's the weirdest thing ever. I showed Clemente and Easy and Nick on a call. I did a size small because I ordered a small for Nick to try on. Like I was getting larges for myself, but I got a small and I put the small on and everyone was like, that's a small because it's literally a dress. It goes down past your zipper. It was so strange. And I had to go through, no joke, and Signal would appreciate this as a fashionista. I had to go through over 20 samples of different model shirt. I went through everything, ladies and gentlemen. I went through American Apparel. I went through Comfort Colors. I went through, there's so many. I can like reel off all the brands. I'm not going to tell you what brand I went with because if I say it, everyone else, all the other NFT people are going to do it. Normally, I'm not precious with information like this, but because of the hell that I went through, I'm like, no. Yeah, Bella and Canvas is another one that we went through, which is not what I went with because Sarah's promoting Bella and Canvas. I'll go grab a Bell and Canvas shirt that's in my drawer that I have now. I'll throw it on and I'll show you that it's a dress. But anyway, I'm literally gatekeeping. Someone pointed out I'm literally gatekeeping. I'm not going to tell you what we printed on. But then I was trying to find the screen printer, and that was another pain in the ass. So Nathan said LA Apparel. LA Apparel is a popular brand among Web3 like NFT collections. It's the new brand that the guy that made American Apparel, you know, like that creepy guy or whatever that had that that had the thing, he like got in trouble or something. He sold American Apparel and now he makes LA Apparel. It's a popular brand. If our holders or if people that buy the shirts, if they're like, we want the next one to be on an LA Apparel shirt, we can do that. My position on LA Apparel is that in 3-4 years, nobody's going to care about the LA Apparel shirts. They have a weird fit. In my opinion, it's a very young fit. If you're 22 years old, 23 years old, would not be surprised if you're a big fan of LA Apparel. In 4 years, I do not think it's going to be in anymore. And I'm always trying to make forever stuff. I want stuff that's going to be dope forever. And when you look at the vintage clothing game, people buying shit from 30 years ago, I think that makes a lot of sense. Anyways, people are making fun of me. Look up the history of the owner. His name is Dove Charney, the owner of American Apparel. He literally got in trouble for like sexual harassment. That's why I was saying the creepy guy. There you go. So sexual misconduct allegations, but he's really good at designing clothes. But anyway, regardless, this is not an LA Apparel shirt. The screen printer is a local screen printer in Brooklyn that I found that does incredible work. I'm very optimistic that when people hold the shirt in their hand and they look at the screen printing, it's dope. Last thing I'll say on it is that Nick was very impressed with the screen printing, and Nick is so quick to hate on basically any product that I put in front of his face. Like he's looking for a reason to like say it's not good enough so that we have to go and make it better. And he was speechless. He had nothing to say from the front print to the back print.
That's an impossible feat. That's an impossible thing to achieve.
Anyway, talking about the shirt, we don't have to.
How'd you get it, Pio? How'd you get one of these shirts?
You just come to the event at BreakPoint next week, or if you just find me, I'm going to be walking around with the shirts in my backpack, and I'll have 3 or 4 of them available that people can buy at BreakPoint next week. And then we're figuring out, basically, for all physical products, I never want someone to order it and then have to wait like 8 weeks because we're making it. Other people do that. I think it's such a weird thing to do because I never buy anything that I have to wait 8 weeks for. When I buy something, it just comes in the mail shortly after. And so, yeah, so here, hold on one second. So after you buy something, it'll come to you in this mailer, this custom mailer that we had done, which is like a nice little thing. Buddy's in his underwear. I think it's a funny little touch that our artist did. And so, yeah, so we're just basically compiling products so that we can have a regular cadence of drops, because I do not want people to order something and have to wait multiple weeks to receive it. That's just not like my thing. And we just need to have enough stuff in hand. We have really great vendors. We have one vendor that's a 100-year-old great American company that as soon as you see the product, you'll understand exactly what the product is. I'm not going to disclose it right now because I'd rather just like show you the product and get everybody excited about that. But it's one of the great American companies, family-owned business, been around for 100 years. I had to go out to their office like a couple months ago when I missed the show 2 days. That's what I was doing. They are the slowest vendor I've ever encountered in my entire life. It is absurd. It took 7 business days to put the order in once we had the design approved. And we had to chase them down. They make you put the order in over the phone. I was in disbelief. I was like, I couldn't believe it that you're going to make me call you guys after we're doing this whole thing over email to put the order in. Now I'm just venting about this vendor, but the product is going to be sick. But I now know the amount of time for after these products come in. If people like them, if people like spaz out over them, we're going to order 10 different designs from that vendor because it takes so long to get it across the line. So long. So we're going to have 10 different designs and we'll just have them all in hand and we'll drip them out slowly. My apartment is filled with physical crap right now. I mean, you see the box behind me. There's a massive suitcase next to me that I had to buy so that we could bring all this stuff to Amsterdam. This is like the startup movie type thing where I just can't even move in my apartment because there's so much crap. It's insane. Someone made a joke that I pay for the product orders in Bitcoin and that's why it takes so long. Very funny. Very funny. All right. Anyway, someone said I'm still high on the Bitcoin pump. Okay, got it. And ladies and gentlemen, Nick is not here today because I forgot that I haven't explained that to the audience. Nick is not here today because he is at the court for the Sam Bankman-Fried trial. Nick told me yesterday there's like a reporter guy in front of him that's just like, really taking a lot of notes, like working his ass off. Like this is his job. His job is to literally be there and write down every single note and not miss a beat. And Nick said he was poking the guy on the shoulder and like going like, yo, what did the guy say? Like basically cheating off the guy. Do you know what I mean? Instead of taking his own notes, bothering the guy. And he said the guy literally like turned around and gave him a dirty look and went, shut up, which is like the funniest thing. Like Nick's just bothering this reporter guy, which is so funny. Nick also said that he went up to a group that was eating lunch together. It was like a CoinDesk a person from the Rolling Stone, like a bunch of journalist people, reporter people. And he said he sat down and just kind of introduced himself. Like, he's Nick. Nick will just bust in on your table and just be like, yo, I'm Nick. I'm here now. Deal with me. And someone said something and Nick was like, oh, like, what's that? Like he didn't know. And the one of the guys from one of the places, I'm not going to say who, but look, it's not, this is not the Queen of England that's sitting there. Like you don't really deserve an ego. You're just like a journalist person that probably makes like 110K a year. Like, take it easy, buddy. He said the guy literally like looked at him and was like, and for you, those of you that are just listening, it's like that Donald Trump meme where Trump's like, okay, like this guy doesn't know anything. And Nick held back, but Nick could have just like totally roasted him right there. Nick fitting in with a bunch of reporters at the SBF trial is pretty funny. Love to see it. So anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I just went uninterrupted for like 8 minutes. Well, what am I, Nick? No, just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about NFT volume reaching a 2-month high. We'll let Easy and Signal take this away so I can take a little break here. Easy, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not terribly surprised about it. I do think Spencer was onto something earlier when he had stated he thinks it's because of some level of flooring protocol, which does inject liquidity into the space at some capacity. But I also think with ETH chopping here and not rallying as hard as the other tokens, we're seeing that NFT volume start to ramp up. That's where I'm like, this feels a little bit better, especially on these like mid caps, which is that 1 to 1.3 range. Even like Milady's have sent recently after all the troubles and tribulations they went through. My captain's bags are down tremendously. I'm a proud community member still. God damn. But there's some other things that like I am excited about that's going on right now. And I think even right now with crypto kind of like everything hanging on this Bitcoin ETF news, you just have a lot of people who are still working and waiting to roll out announcements until we get like a week of chop, where then you'll see a lot of liquidity start moving back into NFTs because people like the leverage position of it. Blur Season 2 ends in less than 30 days, which I'm excited for because I don't think Blur's just going to vanish. I think they're going to have something set up where there'll be a new paradigm for liquidity to get excited. And I also think people who made profits on Friend Tech and other SocialFi have now started to shift back. There are still people farming the points, but it's not as aggressive, where we saw basically all the liquidity at the time cycle into Friend Tech because everyone was like, this is the future of France. This is where I had the opportunity to make 100K this year. This is the move. And then you saw 15 different derivatives. Everyone started chasing on all those. And it looked like the move. Your boy was on it. I joined my Friend Techs, got the cash right away, commented in the channels, I'm not doing this. I'm going to be gone in a week. Hyper transparent about it. And everyone was like, okay, that works. But I haven't been farming it. And I think a lot of people right now are mainly just looking back at NFTs because you're seeing these cheaper plays still run, which a lot of gaming projects are. We have a lot of tokens coming up. BreakPoint starting to rally again. You have meme coin coming out. You have Block Games Dice announcing.
Grapecoin is out?
No, coming out still. So they just rolled out another game and announced their first play to earn, which is called Grape Run. So they have like all these things in the works that is getting people excited now for this inevitable coin. They obviously have the pre-sale signups live, so you can actually sign up, commit the wallet, attach the wallet, etc., which has people interested and eager right now. So not live yet, but I just think there's a lot of these catalysts, especially on the lower price points from half an ETH and under, specifically like under 0.2 and under. And dude, I even bought some art yesterday. Like, I don't know who I'm becoming, but I got tagged in this post that was like a Rafiq Anadol style of artist. And I actually just really like the art. I think I paid like 0.06 for it. Because I looked at it, I was like, this thing's cool, and I don't want to spend 7 ETH on a Winds of Yamalama. So there's some stuff that's happening that's got me excited right now. and looking at more and more at NFTs. Solana obviously giga pumping to 32 and sitting flat at 32 feels so good for my soul bags, not so good for my NFT bags, but it could be worse. You know, like that's something I look at and I'm like, this actually makes me feel a little bit better overall because you're seeing a lot of sell pressure on NFTs on Solana, but it is shaping up for projects, many of which have been like sandbagging announcements going into BreakPoint. We've already seen Clandestores launching plushies. Mad Lads is giving a keynote at BreakPoint. We have our first BoDoggos event, which a lot of people are excited about. I'm excited about it. There's just a lot of really cool things that are going to be going down. And the sentiment at BreakPoint, I think, is going to get everyone so excited again, especially because FTX is behind us. At this point, I'm going to knock on wood. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, when we were coming back from BreakPoint last year, boarding the plane, everybody was talking about FTX. That was the very, very, very beginning of it. I was on that plane. I was next to Mike Dudas. Everybody was talking about FTX, like what's going on. That was on a Tuesday, if I recall correctly. And by Friday, me and Nick were on a plane to the Bahamas. So that whole thing happened really fast and it really unraveled in a quick way. Signal, any commentary on NFT volume before we move on to the lawsuit?
Yeah, no, it's interesting how this period of time also reflects like often the business cycle. So, you know, summer is always that period where everybody kind of goes off, takes their 2 weeks of vacation, and then you get into Q4 and it's heads down, guys. This is the last quarter that we got to do business before Q1 comes around next year, and everybody's trying to roll in the deals right now. And this is what it feels like to me. Like everyone is trying to get their projects out before essentially December, because as like projects either need to release now or they're going to have to release in January, because December is a very difficult time to get people's money because people have already allocated in their head where they want to be spending their money. So I think between now and the end of November, we're going to still see a lot of activities. We're still going to see a lot of news come from projects saying this is what we're doing before the end of the year. December, I see it being a bit more quieter, like it always is. Sometimes you kind of have that left field airdrop come out from some random platform that you happen to use that year, which injects liquidity into the market. We've seen that, I think, 2 years running now. January, blow off top as usual before we go quiet again. But I'm excited for now going to the end of November, because I do think this is a good period to be making money. There's a couple of projects I've got my eyes on thinking, I don't particularly think that perhaps people are really paying attention and they have more like legs to run. And I'm feeling good about putting my money on the table and being like, yeah, I think I can take some profit on this, which I have not felt like pretty much, well, all of summer I did not. And even September, I was still like, the market's fragile. It can change with the winds. Like the winds of Yanawana, it can just change direction. So I think you got to be ready to like just deploy quickly, but be ready to pull out.
Yeah, I mean, NFT market is really challenging to navigate during times like this for sure. So look, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. It's been over a year since the initial lawsuit, and Ryder Rips, and is it Jeremy Cahan? Is that Paulie's real name?
Yes.
Easier.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
That's his real name. Jeremy Cahan.
Got it.
He actually has a Twitter account with his doc's name on it as well.
Got it. Well, that's also on many FBI lists, I'm sure. They were ordered to pay $1.5 million to Yuga Labs and to cover all of Yuga Labs' legal fees, and they have to transfer ownership of the BAYC smart contract. Gordon Goner, co-founder of Yuga Labs, was quoted as saying $1.5 million plus legal fees and another $100K for our anti-SLAPP of all their bullshit. Bad day to be a scammer, good day to be an ape. So he feels super vindicated right now. I would too if I were him. There's also an additional comment from the judge. The judge said, in addition, the defendants unnecessarily and inappropriately made disgraceful and slanderous comments about Yuga, its founders, and its counsel during litigation, including calling Yuga's counsel criminals who support racism, anti-Semitism, bestiality, pedophilia, and accusing them of using cartoons to market drugs to young children. These statements were egregious and far exceed the bounds of acceptable conduct. So the judge picked up on how ridiculous the whole thing was and how unnecessarily slanderous the old boys that lost were. Bunny, what's your take on this situation, amiga? What does that mean?
Strong take. Strong take.
All
He's out to lunch. But Pia, the thing that's interesting to me is obviously this happened in the US, right? So the IP rights and what was infringed upon can still be tried in other Western countries. So Europe, they could technically still be sued. South America, they could still be sued. We had one of the many Web3 lawyers who you're never sure if they're a lawyer or work at a McDonald's comment on it. And they had stated, yeah, this could act like if Yuga really wanted to throw the book at them, they could try them in basically like Canada, Mexico, the UK. Because I guess the way that Yuga's IP structure is filed lets them, it's like a global IP. And because BAYC was using that, and now there's already precedent set, they could literally just throw the book at them.
Yeah, I mean, Witters had a good comment right there. She said, imagine thinking you can just make up lies and have it hold up in court. It's not really how it works. Ask Sam Bankman-Fried how that works. The judge literally takes the jury out of the room and is like, all right, spew your bullshit, and then I'm going to kick you out. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a long time coming. It's actually a year, though, I think is not even that long for something like this to go through a full legal process. It's not even that long. Those guys had their 15 minutes of fame while this happened about a year ago, and now they're just completely wrecked. I also saw, I think Ryder Rips, his Twitter account is suspended. And that's like a guy that just really wanted to be famous really bad for being an artist, just down bad, wrecked all the way around. Clemente, there's something that you wanted to weigh in with?
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that Paulie has his like little clan of people that follow him. They're like, lawsuit can't take us down. Like, we're going to come back even stronger. And then Paulie tweeted like, oh, like Beeple made another everyday piece about me. Like, God, like it's just so absurd to me. They're still going off with this.
Well, you got a mentally ill leader and a group of mentally ill followers. There's going to be a whole lot of mental illness thrown around left and right. You got them being like, yeah, the $1.5 million lawsuit that literally torched us isn't a big deal. That's like if Mike Tyson
didn't torch them. That's the thing. Let's go full conspiracy theory here.
Well,
Paulie launched Pay Us You Get Nothing, where he made over 3 mil. Then Pawn Token, which made 1.6 million. So it's like, those were, in my opinion, clearly ways to fund this.
Of course. And then the SEC will just come through and send them to jail, or like whoever, the FBI, the SEC, he's like securities fraud, right? Securities fraud. Yes. So we'll see what happens with that. Bunny, you have your hand raised. What's going on?
You know, I talked to a different Web3 lawyer, Easy, and they don't think that they would pursue it in like the other jurisdictions. I think it'll be too heavy.
Thank you, Bunny.
My lawyer versus your lawyer on a space, Bunny. That's what we should do. Battle of the lawyers. You bring yours, I bring mine.
Thank you, Bunny, for that.
But also, Garga had the bar of the fucking trial with the they said, you know, without the Campbell Soup brand, Warhol wouldn't have sold his paintings, right? And Garga said, well, Warhol wasn't selling actual soup at the grocery store, though, right? Like,
boom. Oh, that's a beautiful, I mean, they're trying to use the Warhol thing. It's like, dude, get out of here, bro. You literally just copied and pasted the things. Get out of here, dude. Anyway, so we don't have to talk about that thing anymore. That is not something that is going to be relevant anymore on the loser side. I'm assuming that Yuga Labs is going to continue to be relevant. I don't think that's an outrageous take to have. So what's the story with this founder exodus? It seems like people are figuring out that if you don't have a business, then you can't run an NFT collection, obviously, right? That's like asking someone that has a storefront in New York City, hey, how do you run this thing when you don't make any revenue ever? So I think it's pretty obvious, but I'd like to dive into this. What's going on? Are a lot of people figuring out that you need to have a business, Easy?
Yeah, that's especially on the Solana side, I would say, is kind of what we're dealing with here. You got a lot of people who have since essentially just been like, yeah, we're shutting down. We don't have the capital to do this. We don't have a plan. We don't have basically anything that we should have had, and we don't know what to do. So it's don't tell me we're not having fun yet, you know? And that's kind of the boat we're in right now. You had Lily shut down, which was a prominent art collection on Solana. Founder had paid himself $100K a year for 2 years. A lot of people said that was a misuse of funds. Then you had another project that was supposed to be a marketplace that really rewarded traders, hyper incentivized the traders. Excuse me. And they did a pre-sale for $150, showed all of their expenses, and then refunded buyers $15. So a lot of people are really upset about that because they got 90% off of what they pre-sold. A lot of these same people were asking for refunds basically while it was happening. and got no response. And now the team has come out and said, yeah, we refunded every unlisted NFT $15, and we're deleting our socials tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not optimistic that people are going to pick up and like actually realize like you need to have a business, but that just is the reality of it. So I'm hoping that gradually over time it is understood, but at the same time, I'm not foolish enough to think that me saying this is going to have any impact at all. And I've been like beating this drum for honestly like 2 years pretty much, and it's just not something that the NFT audience is interested in hearing. So we'll have to see what happens. But basically, I'll say it one more time. You don't have a business, it's a rug pull. That's it. What else could it be? How else can they survive? People don't do things for free. They need an incentive. And so if you just sell, and I had a call with somebody that's going to help us with something in Amsterdam, and we just started chatting, and he goes to me, he goes, well, you guys wouldn't be able to survive if you didn't have a business, right? And I was like, no, of course not. What are you even saying? How could we ever survive if we didn't have revenue, if we didn't have a business? What are we even talking about here? Of course, that's like asking, hey, Mark Zuckerberg, you guys wouldn't be able to survive if you didn't have revenue, right? Of course not. There's a bunch of employees over there. There's offices. There's a whole lot going on. You need to have revenue. So this is going to keep happening. Their NFT projects are going to literally drop like flies left and right. And you need to have a business, and there's no other option. What are we even talking about here? Sig, it looks like you want to weigh in with something.
Well, I guess the challenge is from the holders' perspective is that some founders are saying that they have a business, but then as a holder, you have no idea. You have no transparency over what's happening to the treasury. You don't know what their burn rate is. You don't know where the money is going. So it's like, even as a holder, sometimes it's really difficult to assess whether a project is a business, because like you can say you're a business, but like your revenues might be still really low. You might not be in profit. Like Yuga Labs could have a horrendous burn rate, but like none of these numbers are actually shared with holders. So on the one hand, I agree with what you're saying, Pio, but on the other hand, I think it's really hard as an outsider to assess what are the actual figures. Is this business going to go out of business in the next like 2-3 months? Or is this a business that actually has legs for the next 18 months? And, you know, the ones who have legs for the next 18 months, they're in the news. They're the ones getting the VC rounds. They're the ones who we know who can have a high burn rate and last for the next 2 years. But, you know, and then you have projects on the other side. But everybody else in the middle, I think that as a holder, because there's no transparency, if that was to go and disappear over the next 3 months, but the messaging from the founders has been, we're still working, and then the next day they disappear. I don't think that's always on the holders because they don't have all the information.
Well, I can just give you the information now. The only businesses right now are Pudgy Penguins, Campai Pandas, us. I mean, Rug Radio is a business for sure. Yuga Labs has enough capital, though, that they can keep this going for at least 1 to 2 years easy. I mean, they just did the layoff to probably adjust that burn rate. Moonbirds has capital. DeGods is, I think they have an events business for sure, and they have a physical products component to their business. I don't know how big it is, but there's at least the beginnings of a business there for sure. Azuki, everybody knows they got enough money. They just did 40 million bucks. They don't need a business. I don't think they want to have a business. They raised a bunch of money right before, like basically at the last second that they could. Doodles has a bunch of money, and they seem interested in making a business for sure. Who else? Like, what am I even gonna like talk about?
All the gaming projects, I think, are businesses. Obviously, like that's a totally different realm.
Of course,
like, yeah.
But people aren't buying those NFTs the same way they're buying this stuff. Ebring said Artifact. Artifact was acquired by Nike, so
that's a business.
Nike's a business, but unless they buy the NFTs, I don't know what the relationship is between Artifact and Nike. Bunny, you have your hand raised. What's going on?
Yeah, in the pantheon of PO takes, this is your most out to lunch one for sure, right? Like, dude, once I hear the word business, like nothing makes me run faster. Right? Like, if you want to start a business, then just start a fucking business, dude. Right? Look at Frodo Gremlins. That thing's got a better floor than 99% of NFT price. Bro, I just want memes and community. That's it. With like business comes expectations, dude. And then once the holders have expectations, that's when things go south in a hurry.
So Bunny right now gave the literal perfect response. Bunny is accurately representing the baseline, NFT / crypto person that literally, if they hear the word business, they want to run. They're like, that's not fun. I want memes. I'm here for fun. If the price goes up, that's cool. But the reality is, in 7 years, there will be no Sproto gremlins. I mean, I'm sorry to let you know. I'm sure there's going to be an army of Sprotos trying to stick their nose into me or whatever they do, and I'm sure I'm going to ruffle a lot of feathers. But I'm sorry. Sproto gremlins in 7 years is not going to be a thing. You got a guy with an MFer profile picture saying Bunny is on point. Yes, this is the same archetype of person right here that they're like, don't say the word business. That's not fun. I'm not here for that. I hate my job. I'm here for fun. And maybe the thing will go up in price. I'm just giving you the actual reality of things here. If you go on the crypto side, there's a bunch of BS shitcoins that go up in price. Those aren't going to be significant. Those go to zero against Bitcoin long term. I know that makes you so mad. I feel the other people's blood just boiling right now. They're like, did he just say the word Bitcoin too? This is ridiculous. You can say that Web3 degens have no interest in a business, but you'll see which projects do well over the 7 years because the businesses actually have revenue to support the floor price of the project. I'm sorry to give you this information. Machi was calling for Yuga Labs to sweep the floor of Bored Ape Yacht Club with the 1.5 million. I almost commented on it. I almost quote tweeted it to basically do this rant, but I was like, honestly, I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm just going to I'll quote tweet it in 2 years. How about that? That's when I'll quote tweet it.
But Pio, I kind of sit with Bunny in some way because people have no idea what's going on. Like, why do you think the AIP for 8DAO Council was voted on to be slashed by 50%? Because people are like, these people are getting paid a ton of money per month, and they have no idea what is going on. Like, why are these people being paid so much money to do what? And it's not even their full-time job. So it's just they don't
work for Yuga. They don't. That's not coming off Yuga's payroll.
I know. Yeah. I know they don't work for Yuga. It's a separate entity, which is also a business, right? But still, at that level, in a DAO, people don't know what people are doing on this council to earn that kind of money for what is basically a part-time or quarter-time job, right? So I just think that it's an example of the lack of transparency that kind of gets to people being like, I've got no idea what's going on here. Whether it is a business or not, I'd rather just go with an MFA project or Sproto Gremlins, because at least price goes up and I take the risk that if I round trip, but if I make a bag, I also make a bag and exit. So in the short term, I think both parties can win, and I don't think it has to be a business for people to feel confident to put their money into it.
Yeah, I'm not talking about short term. I'm only talking about long term. I don't care about short term ever about any. I literally do not care about short term. Everything I'm doing, I'm thinking super duper long term about. And I'm just telling you, in 9 years, I'm not going to want to have that MFer over Bitcoin or any NFT that has an actual business. Bunny has his hand raised again. Bunny?
Yeah. Here's the issue. Right when the founder of a cartoon animal project is pretending that he has a business, then the holders are pretending that they're fucking investors in this, and they have shares in some company, right? And they have all these expectations of what they expect. I guarantee you a meme, a strong meme will outlet, because dude, what's the fail rate of businesses in general? 90%, and then take it to a brand new niche ass market. A meme is going to last longer than some bozo who made $1 million, has no idea what he's doing, and is going to burn through that in 2 to 3 years.
If Luca Nets literally makes a 10+ million annual revenue toy business, let me know if that's a bozo move. If Bored Ape Yacht Club, Yuga Labs, your favorite thing, Bunny, ends up making a super duper robust video game entity, what are you going to say, Bunny? Is that a bozo take? I don't know.
I would say that those would then be the anomalies, right? Not the average. And
it ain't going to be the average, amigo.
And here's the thing: I'm not even positive that both of those projects will make it long term, right?
Yeah, you can't be positive. There's an incredibly high fail rate, but
that's why I don't want a business. You proved my point. That's the one.
In 9 years, we'll circle back on this. That's literally the time. I know everyone's like, stop saying 9 years, 10 years, because people hate thinking like super long term. But that is the timeline, the framework that I'm operating in. Anyway, we can move on from this. That was a very fun back and forth with Bunny, with good points from Bunny for sure. Love having Bunny on the show. Anyway, next story. So we got the DeGods price action that we were talking about. It was touched upon earlier in the show. What do you guys make of what's going on there? DeGods are down 10% over the past 24 hours after seeing a huge amount of sell pressure into Blur bids. We had the Blur farmer Hanwei come through, owned 200, but dumped all but 70. They have 5.5% of their collection on Blend, tied with CryptoPunks for most supply on Blend. The third closest is Remilio Babies and Azuki at 3% of their supply. Utes have also continued to bleed, down at 0.65 Ethereum. Easy, what do you make of what's going on? Is it possible for a turnaround before the end of the year?
I think so. I do think so. It's an interesting kind of situation. Obviously, the blend loans and like lending markets have really taken center stage on like negative price action. It's where a lot of people credit why these things are trading negatively and downward pressure, just because you get liquidity. And that's usually what happens is if they don't repay those, it goes to someone who doesn't want the asset. They sell it for a loss, and this downward domino effect, which is never good for a project. But do I think DeGods, if anyone can kind of rally around and bounce back, I think it would definitely be them. Obviously, you have Basil coming up end of the year. I think with Frank in general, it's not someone that the space likes to fade. They like to kind of dunk on him when applicable just because of how vocal he is. But we just haven't really seen much from their camp post this like clarity phase that they've started to outline. So I think if we start to get announcements and the clarity aspect starts to come to life, then I think you will see positive price action. We've been waiting for these answers, waiting for these responses on what and where the project's going. So I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with that. But I think if anyone can bounce back, it'll be DeGods.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I wouldn't be. Well, the points parlor was such like a great concept. They literally gave away a Tesla, which on paper I think would be electric. Unfortunate, underwhelming response, from the market. I think the prices of the DeGods and the Utes assets were probably really, really, really high. And the second you draw that parallel between those extremely high prices and something like Points Parlor is where things kind of changed. Signal, you had some takes on DeGods that you had earlier in the show. What are you thinking about?
No, I was just joking that Frank's becoming the main character by dunking on his own holders. Like, Frank's been the main character for a while. He's always been controversial. He's always been polarizing. I think now that he's gone across the chains, it's just people just want to see some meat on the bone right now. But I do think that if the team can come out with something solid, that there is still like hope within that community that people will come in and buy the assets. He's always been extremely strong at being able to hype people up, get people like into the community that didn't necessarily hold a Ute before, but there needs to be some substance. I feel like he has incredible style and the team do as well. Their design is on point. I think when it comes to design, that team, whoever does a design in-house, is one of the best in the space. But it really needs some substance. And I feel like the time for that, if they're not doing it in the next couple of months, is quickly running out.
I mean, look, I think it's a good take for sure. We'll have to see what happens between now and the end of the year. Clemente, any thoughts? It looks like you want to weigh in.
Yeah, I was looking at like the Points Parlor. Basically, they just stopped communicating about it. DeGods did. They used to release basically every week. I think they had like some really strong partnerships and sponsors lined up for maybe the first few weeks, and then just didn't have like the sales or business development team to really continue that at all. And now basically everyone says that just the whales win everything. That's troubling. I also am not a huge fan of the move to make reset all the art to season 1, because you're going through and 90% of the DeGods that you see on Blur are just the season 1 art, which I'm not a huge fan of at all. And the one thing that is interesting is Frank is finally starting to post on Twitter again, which is literally like his number one strength is literally just get millions of impressions a day and retweet your holders, give them exposure. That's it. Like he changed his name to like DeGod, whatever. And then right afterwards, you see like 40 people do the exact same thing. He retweets all of them and it creates like this effect. But as Easy was saying earlier, maybe he took it a little too far with saying, like calling some of the community members bozos, which is not ideal.
I like it. I like that part of it for sure, man. It's a Friday. I'm like, am I about to just totally go off? I don't think I can just totally go off here and just be totally transparent. I'm just like, because people are like, we don't want to hear it. You know, like literally everyone's just like, we don't want to hear it. Stop talking about business. I mean, look, what do you guys want them to do? Light money on fire with points parlor so the floor goes down? Why would they do it? Why would they do that? You're literally lighting money on fire and the floor goes down. Why would they do that? You know, so you just have to think reasonably about this stuff for a second. Why are you going to just go spend a bunch of money and then make the floor price go down? If it's not working, you have to move on. There's this Brian Armstrong tweet that I referenced. Clemente, you made a clip about it because Easy and Nick roasted me in the clip. Remember when I was like, just do it or something? And Nick was like, oh, Brian Armstrong came up with the Nike slogan, like that whole clip. There's a great paragraph tweet from Brian Armstrong that's like, basically in entrepreneurship in an early stage startup company, which every NFT business is absolutely an early stage startup company, younger than 2 years old in almost every single case, or right around 2 years old. You have to try things and see if they work. And if they don't work, you have to cut it and move on. You can't just keep plowing money into something that's not working. That's insane. That like any entrepreneur, any like, former founder that's had successful exits that's like advising you is going to be like, what the hell are you doing? It's not working. You have to stop. What the hell is going on? We got Tony coming to stage. Tony from our partner SHRAPNEL. He was on the show yesterday. He wants to come on stage, not even to talk about SHRAPNEL, but to talk about DeGods. Tony, happy Friday, buddy. How you doing?
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I'm doing great, man. I say this as someone who really likes Frank a lot. I think he is a super talented marketer and hype driver, and like the things that you've all said he's good at, he's really good at. And I also think that the business take is a really good conversation and like a really interesting one, because again, like if you're saying like the goal is for the number to go up, like why would it go up other than you have something like a product for people to rally around, right? And I think that's what we're seeing here with this. And just as like a little bit of like, I don't know if alpha is the right word, but like insider baseball, like we were talking about participating in the points parlor, right? And like the business model wasn't spend money on the points parlor. Like they were charging people a shitload of money to be in the points parlor and give out stuff. And like we were going to give them money to be in it. Like all they had to do was put on the baseball mitt and catch the money that we were going to give them to give away a bunch of in-game shrapnel stuff. And like, it just totally fell off. Like they just totally stopped talking to people for months. Right. And like, we were like literally like messaging like, hey, we have a check for you to be in this thing as a sponsor. And just totally like stop talking to us. And so, my take is that to me isn't reflective of, hey, and again, like I worked at a company where I had infinite money, Amazon, and I watched my boss, Mike Frazzini, fly hundreds of millions of dollars of Jeff Bezos's money, like right into the sun. We made more dumb products that never existed and we never made $1 off of than any other business in the world. But while we were doing that, while we were flying all of that money into the sun, we were like working real hard at it, right? Like we were like, I was flying all over the world, talking to game developers, trying to get them on board. And just to be frank, as someone who, sorry, that's an odd way to say that. Just to be candid, as someone who built a business that looks exactly like Points Parlor at Amazon. I mean, Twitch Prime is Points Parlor, right? It's like, give us money for Amazon Prime, log into a website, and get free rewards. That is what Twitch Prime Gaming is. It has, almost 100 million members now. And what I didn't see them do was actually treat it seriously. Like when I was talking to those guys, and by this way, like I said, I like them a lot. Frank, if you're listening, if anyone's listening, I like Frank a lot. I think you're a really talented, smart guy. But like, it just felt kind of lazy. Like it was like, hey, we're this really important group. And so we shouldn't have to like do a whole lot of work to collect money from you guys and make this thing successful. We're just going to put up a website that looks kind of cool. And we're the DeGods youths, and so it'll work. And I think that they've been riding that. I think that attitude has been mostly true in this space because they've done such a good job driving hype and getting people, taking the drugs, if you will, right? Like I made the money, so this is the coolest thing ever. without really evaluating whether or not the thing that they're buying into is a sustainable thing. And that's okay if the whole goal, like Bunny said, is just to like make the bag. But I guess what I'm saying is it's not really surprising. And I think that it's unfortunate because I think Points Farther could have been something really cool. And it felt like, again, like there just wasn't the rigor put into necessarily.
Well, we lost you right there at the very end. I think it was your last statement. You said the rigor to make it happen. It sounds like.
Yeah, it feels like they didn't put. Yeah, it just felt like they didn't put the rigor in to make it what it needed to be. And sorry, I think I got cut off by my alarm clock.
No worries. It's early for you. It's West Coast, 7 a.m. So Tony's up before the alarm, ladies and gentlemen. He's ready. He loves the smell of napalm in the morning over there at Shrapnel. For all you Francis Ford Coppola fans, real quick, people are saying it's Beard Man. Yes, you've correctly identified Tony. He came on the show yesterday to talk about Shrapnel, and he does have a large beard. Yeah, look, Tony, I appreciate the take and the transparency. I do think there is a component from my side that if the thing is going to make the floor price go down, you just can't keep putting money into it or putting resources into it. But I appreciate the detail that you shared there. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday. It's been a fun show. There's been some spice. There's been some transparency without Nick here. Gee, if we would have lit the town ablaze if Nick was here, well, he probably would have been disagreeing with near everything that I said. So I got off, real quick, we got one comment from a DeGods holder. He goes, as a DeGods holder, I don't give a shit about Points Parlor. There you go. Right. So it's something a holder doesn't care about. How are you going to plunge more money into that? He goes, I don't even play. It is, in fact, a whale game. There you go. But we own an effing basketball team. That is definitely super duper cool to own a basketball team, a big three team. That's definitely some cool stuff. Look, ladies and gentlemen, fun Friday episode of the show. If you're going to BreakPoint next week, find me at BreakPoint. I'm going to be rolling with these shirts that we did, put a lot of time into. So hope that you guys appreciate them. And there will be more things like this to come moving forward. But anyway, we got an event at BreakPoint next week, November 1st, Wednesday. What's the event going to be? It's going to be a little cocktail party. That's it. And you're going to be able to talk to each other. There will be like a DJ and stuff, but it's not going to be too loud. All of our events, we don't do the club-like atmosphere. We do the you can actually talk to each other atmosphere. There's going to be a photographer there. There's going to be a videographer there. So if you don't want to be on camera, I don't know if it's going to be the right event for you. And we're going to drop a bunch of content before the event, after the event, and during the event that I think is going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be pretty dope. So see you in Amsterdam next week. If you see us walking around, it's going to be me, Nick, and Easy there. And our videographer, my guy, Ali Jassim. He's a BoDoggos holder. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you've never been to Amsterdam, it's a really, really dope city. I recommend it. I think it's going to be a lot different than what a lot of Americans and Western folk or, North American folks are expecting. I think they're expecting a rah-rah party city where people are out until like 4 a.m. and they're in for a rude awakening that it's like a quiet, clean, beautiful little city with like super duper reasonable residents. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Someone asked if we're doing the show from there. You bet your ass we are. 1,000%. I bought all the gear. I don't even know I'm going to bring all this stuff on a plane. I feel like people are going to be like, what the hell are you doing, dude? This is too many people. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. I'm going to end the YouTube stream. If you